I would just like to point that out.
All right. I'll subscribe to our Patreon for more content like this. Unapologetically Black presents Anime Court is now in session. Honorable Judge Tyrell Sweezy now presiding.
Welcome to Anime Court. Today we have a couple of our favorite bullshit artists going to trial. We have Jamal, who has the argument of
Dragon Ball Z just ain't the greatest anime of all time.
As you'll soon see, he's wrong, but to defend that point, we have Rich, who says that Dragon Ball Z is...
It is absolutely 1,000% the greatest anime of all time.
We both know that Rich is right, but we'll see how Jamal likes to fight back against this uphill battle. So, without further ado, Jamal, present your opening argument.
All right, so let's get into this. So Dragon Ball Z is clearly a show made for little boys. And not just little boys who want to grow up strong, tough, but that's it. It has no depth to it. It has no real oomph to it. Like, the story isn't there. There's no real plot. There's no character development. In the first episode, the girl showing her panties to get the ball, the Dragon Ball. By episode 2, those same panties, stolen. By episode 3, she has to show them to an immortal old man to get those same panties back. And in that man, we discover death don't really matter in this show because he's been tricking the Grim Reaper in life for years. You've been following the journey longer than you've been watching Luffy. Dragon Ball stretches over 805 episodes, over 5 series, well over 13 movies. Let's give it its flowers. It's been great. It introduced a lot of us to our first anime. Dragon Ball Z was dope. The story of Goku, the story of the Saiyans. Everybody loves it, but everybody ignores the racism. Everybody ignores the sexism. Everybody ignores the fact that these characters don't grow. You don't see much from these characters, aside from the fact that they can punch, kick. And aside from the fact that you watch them grow as friends and like people, then you just watch them turn into Saiyans. And then you watch one of the saddest stories from a certain point of view happen. And I'm here to present that. Because from Gohan's point of view, everybody looks at it like Piccolo's his dad. Piccolo's the kidnapper. But this isn't the Piccolo we're talking about. This is Piccolo Jr. You know, the one that wanted to come back and kill his dad years ago. But hey, I'm in the uphill battle of showing why Dragon Ball Z is not the greatest anime of all time. It just isn't. The quality doesn't hold up. Not against shows like Demon Slayer of today. The manga sales don't show up. Not against juggernauts like One Piece of today. The plot doesn't hold up. Not against better animes that are pulling out plots after season. It don't have the numbers that it once held, even in the movies. Dragon Ball Superheroes topped number 6.
All right, hang on.
In all of Tokyo.
Wrap it up.
Sorry, it was
all
number
right.
20 in sales.
Okay.
Number 6 was One Piece.
Rich, your rebuttal.
First off, I would like to completely point out how this man lied in his opening statement by saying there was no growth in Dragon Ball, but then turn around and said you watched the characters grow. I just want y'all to just listen to that. He himself contradicted himself in his own argument.
I did know
by saying you see no growth in Dragon Ball, but then yet watch as the characters grow. Let's point out the fact that not only was Dragon Ball the spear for Western anime to get people like me, you, and a bunch of other black folk and white people and all people to watch anime on in the Western sphere of the world. Dragon Ball Z literally spearheaded that. You watch Goku go from ages 12 to 43. If that's not growth, I don't know what the fuck is.
Now, Matt, we got some people in the chat saying that growth only counts as him getting bigger, but not as him growing as a person. What do you have to say for something like that?
So, first off, growing as a person, you watch Goku go from having no family to literally having 2 kids and a grandchild. Not only did you have to watch that, but you painted Goku's personality. He was never smart. not from a common sense standpoint, but Goku, the martial artist, no one was beating him. Whis and Beerus said that literally together. No one is beating this man from a martial arts standpoint. He said, if you could move without thinking, no one would be able to beat you. How do you think he mastered Ultra Instinct? And how long was the tournament? The tournament was 28 minutes long. It was 28 minutes long, and he mastered Ultra Instinct in like 4 minutes. Mastered it. But back to Dragon Ball itself, you're talking about 3 separate series. You're talking about, or 4 now, because you're talking about Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. We're not going to count GT. Or if you want, we can even count GT, Dragon Ball GT. These are 4 technically separate animes. So it's not 800 long. No, Dragon Ball is 287 episodes long. They told their story in 287 episodes. It didn't take them falling into an ocean and 1,000 fucking episodes later to figure out what the fuck is going to happen with Luffy.
Now, Jamal, he brings up a good point. One Piece, some of the biggest issues with One Piece is look at that length, dog. And hey, don't nobody want Hang on. Let me finish my question, right? So, Jamal, please defend getting in, like, just the sheer amount of time commitment. Please defend that.
As a One Piece fan, no One Piece fan gives a fuck how long it is. We love the story. Y'all complain on the outside, this story is too long. How many times have you watched an anime and complained, this only has 1 season? This only have 2 seasons? I don't start animes that don't at least have 2 seasons, personally, because I don't commit to something that I can't get into, because I personally love Dead Man Wonderland. It's a great opening, great anime
of all time.
Like, great story, but it left you right there. It was 13 episodes in an OVA. That was it. And that's all you got. And it's like, why would I commit to that? Why not commit to something long? Now, when you're talking about Dragon Ball, you have to talk about it as a whole. Because if you don't talk about it as a whole, you only show the story of what happened in those first few episodes. If you don't get to know Goku, then you never see the growth that he becomes this great martial artist.
Okay, hang on 1 second, Jamal.
First off, when you say
hang on, Rich, hang on. So we just got to clarify something for the people in the chat right now. So Jamal, are you saying that One Piece is the GOAT of all anime, or are you just saying that Dragon Ball Z is not the GOAT of anime?
I'm not saying that there is one specific GOAT of all anime, because the GOAT of all anime is specific to who you are. I'm just saying it is not Dragon Ball Z, because Dragon Ball Z has some real glaring issues with it. And one of those issues is it's not made for Black people to characterize it and look at it in the same light that everybody else does. Like, they want you to see
I want you to explain how the hell One Piece is. How is One Piece catered to Black people? Please explain. I would love for you to explain that.
I break that down as soon as you actually watch this, because there is an art about slavery.
No. Don't give me a watch it. No, give me an explanation as to how.
Because
you explain it. You watch it.
The mermen are treated as Black people. They are made to be and told by the author himself, this is the plight that I see from a Japanese man of how they treat the Black people in America. They are free. They are treated as slaves. They're treated as less than. And by the end of the story, we are all as a community hoping that they get better. They are shown what racism looks like. They are shown what classism looks like. They are shown to be less than. In One Piece,
now, did you just assume that they're Black people, or did they? Or
no,
did an author?
Okay, hang on 1 second. Jamal,
came out with his own words and said it.
Jamal, I posted something in our private chat. Please click on that image and defend. I want you to repeat everything you just said while looking at that image. Rich, go ahead. Look at it too, please.
What am I looking at?
I'm
screen.
sorry. It didn't give me the image. Give me 1 second. I'll send that right over.
You might not have the ability to share your screen.
But it's not letting me. It's not letting me. So
I would like to point out real quick.
Yeah. So the character that I'm looking at right now, right? If you just look up black characters in One Piece, and you can do the same for Dragon Ball Z. It is no different. The representation of black people in this show is a little sus. So what you're saying doesn't really hold up.
So we're gonna skip over Mr. Popo.
Even still, Dragon Ball Z is
both shows are taking their shots at our community.
And only here recently in our short, say 5-6 years, that we expect cultural appropriation from all areas, right? Dragon Ball Z came out in 1987 from Japan. There's not supposed to be a depiction of black people from then coming from Japan. So I don't expect them to have characterizations of black people in their cartoon.
But you expect
because
them to have
Japanese. It's a Japanese cartoon. It's not like this came from Africa. It's not like it came from the United States where black people are dominant at. It came from Japan, where the dominant race is Japanese people. They depict their characters as Japanese people as they should.
And their savior is a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes.
It does, because Japanese people interacted with white people, and you see how they interacted with them. But most of their characters in Japan
Japanese people
are black.
never interacted with any other race, not the blacks, not the Spaniards.
Not enough to depict in their cartoons. You're trying to use modern day reasoning for why they did something back in 1987. Like, you can't use modern day reason to be like, oh, well, in today's Me Too movement, well, why not? Because it came out in 1987, my boy.
Okay, all right. So barring current, barring current compared to prior racial biases, we'll call it in the show, right? We'll assume that that's an error of their time, as every company had made, right? We can look at Disney, we can look at any other company that did the same thing in the same time. They've all done the same shit, and we all still love them for it. So I don't think that that's necessarily a good argument to have been had, because again, they're going off of what they know, or what the current, or what the.
Easy. Have you ever tried to go Super Saiyan?
More than once.
Sweezy, have you ever tried to go Super Saiyan?
More than once, yes.
Have you ever tried to do a Kamehameha wave?
I do them with my children.
Jamal, have you ever tried to go Super Saiyan? Please lie and tell us no. Have you ever tried to do a Kamehameha wave? Please lie and tell us no. Has anybody ever tried to do fifth gear?
Yes.
Exactly.
On my bike. On your bike.
So Gear 5th is not something that came out yet, so that's a spoiler for like.
So third gear,
but third gear is a second gear, and fourth gear are something that they do.
When you walk into schools, not a single kid was pretending to be Luffy. Everybody wanted to be a Saiyan. Everybody wanted to be a Saiyan. When you're given, even when
your generation, you're saying from your generation. No, you're not saying it. You say this from
I'm using my son's generation. When my son comes in and talks about his day at school, no one's talking about One Piece.
My boy.
Okay, all right. Here's okay, gentlemen. Hang on, gentlemen. That brings up a good point. So let me ask you this now, Rich. When you bring your kids to and from school, you go to their programs and whatnot. How many times do you see a kid wearing Dragon Ball Z merch? A lot, right? Jamal, how many times do you see a kid wearing Dragon Ball Z merch?
Not that much.
Not that much.
A lot of Naruto around here.
I see a lot of Naruto, a lot of Dragon Ball Z. They're about equal where I'm at. Rich, do you see a lot of Naruto, or do you see a lot of other stuff?
I see a lot of Naruto.
A lot of Naruto, a lot of Dragon Ball Z, right? So we'll go, if you want to bring up what kids are doing, let's look at what the kids are doing today. How many of them do you see with One Piece stuff on? Or with JoJo's stuff on?
A lot.
No, you don't.
You do.
You see a lot of Attack on Titan,
my boy.
You see Dragon Ball Z and you see Naruto.
When you're talking about introduction,
what content are you going to, my boy?
Into anime.
You were at
no one's saying start off by watching One Piece.
But that's what I'm getting at. But I'm saying Mac makes a good point. you have to take what the kids are going off of today, because it's
And
the
the
go
kids
for our
today are
generation.
good.
It's one of the top tiers, but you have to also look at it. Now, Mac, on the other end, though, how many of those kids are wearing DBZ compared to all the other kids wearing all the other stuff, right? Because you've got Attack on Titan out there competing with them. You got Naruto, because how many of the kids nowadays are watching Naruto Shippuden, or Boruto? You see what I'm saying? Your arguments are using the kids of today. Well, let's look at what the kids of today are doing. You see what I'm saying? So let's keep it on that. So let's see. So we've got the merch, we've got the actions. What games do you see the anime games that the kids be wanting nowadays? Let's go that way.
So the games that the kids want are not Dragon Ball Z. They are rinse and repeat games. The last Dragon Ball Z game that was good was Xenoverse 2. Xenoverse 1.
What are you talking about? Dragon Ball FighterZ is literally the top selling.
It's literally the same rinse and repeat game. You rinse and repeat the same cycle of Dragon Ball Z. That's all Dragon Ball Z is. You refight Frieza, you refight Cell.
But if that's the case, then that's all anime is. All anime is a rinse and repeat of something else. That is.
It's not, though.
It is. One Piece doesn't have a top selling game.
You're not
because if that's the case, why wouldn't One Piece have a top selling game?
Arguing that Dragon Ball Z outsells, because it doesn't. Dragon Ball Z does not outsell in anime. It doesn't outsell in manga. It does not outsell in movies. Dragon Ball Z is very mid-tier. Because that's in the
hang on. In games, Dragon Ball Z definitely outsells a lot of
any anime.
In the general anime community, it does. Like, that's just a fact. It does outsell One Piece. However, the argument about the manga holds true. One Piece manga is way more popular than Dragon Ball Z manga has been, and has been for a long time.
It's the number 2 selling manga in all the world.
Yes.
It overtook Batman as the number 2 selling comic in all the world.
It did. So we're using these sorts of metrics, right? So if we've got it, what are we basing more on? What are we putting more weight on?
You can Google it right now. Dragon Ball FighterZ sold 8 million copies. Demon Slayer sold 1.2. It sold 8 times as many copies. So it absolutely outsells every other anime when it comes to video games. 1,000%.
But if video games makes it the best, then that does not consider.
No. But that's no. See, y'all are trying to
you're saying it outsells every other anime game, and I would shut that down with one anime.
We're talking about it as a whole. Video games is a part of that. Movies is a part of that. Manga sales is a part of that. Impact on the culture is a part of that. The whole thing as a whole makes it better, not just one particular part.
If that's the case, then they all lose to one little nigga, Pikachu. Because if you count Pokemon, they sell way more.
So there's an interesting question, right? So
if we count
numbers, I've had this argument for a long time. Would you consider Pokemon to be a true anime? Yeah. And I mean that in that Generation 1, Generation 2 were very much anime, but in over time they've become less anime and more of a global cartoon that happens to be in
they are a cartoon. The definition of anime
would you still
there must
count,
be a manga
would
adaptation.
You still count Pokemon? Because I do believe there's an argument to be made for Pokemon if you count Pokemon as an anime.
It does.
Okay, hold on. Which part of Pokemon are we talking? Because the adaptations, because the adaptations, Pokemon's manga is Pokemon Adventure. There's no Pokemon Adventures TV show. So that doesn't make it an anime. The TV show is Ash, Misty, and Brock.
No, but
there's no manga adaptation of
Harry, Red, Blue, and
No. Now you're talking.
No. So red, blue, and green are canonically different characters,
and they canonically had their own anime adventure. You canonically see
which Pokemon are we talking about? Are we talking Pokemon led by Ash?
Else. No, we're talking about Pokemon as an anime, and if we talk about it as an anime, we can say it Red is a canonical character. He appeared in the manga. He appeared in the games. He appeared in an anime. If he is canonical,
I would say Pokemon is not a GOAT based off of cultural different when it comes to like this. A lot of us as kids love Pokemon, but as we get older, majority of them grow out of it.
did you?
And they're done with Pokemon, where there are a select few of us that stay in it. But if we're talking Pokemon,
I disagree.
no, I would say more get out of Pokemon than those that stay in it.
But I'd say people come back because Pokemon is much like it's like introducing your kids to Mario or Sonic. You don't always come back to it and be like, oh, that's my favorite right now. But it's not something that you easily give up on. I ain't never stopped racing Mario Kart. I ain't never stopped saying, oh, well, you know that Sonic that goes around that same ring? That's stupid. Like, you don't, for certain things, you don't just stop loving it. And like, I feel like Pokemon is one of those. Like, everybody always has a soft spot for a Pikachu. Even if they don't outright be like, oh, I fucking love it. They look and be like, oh, that's Pikachu. That's cute. Oh, that's Squirtle. That's cute. Oh, you know, I always loved me an Eevee.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Do you think, so obviously within our culture, there's going to be name recognition. Obviously, as you were just saying, there's going to be name recognition for Pokemon or for other anime. Do you think, Rich, do you think that Dragon Ball Z has the name recognition above all other anime? So if I looked at your average person who's not part of our culture, right? And I look at them and I go, hey, do you know what Pokemon is? They're going to go, yeah. Do you know what Dragon Ball Z is? They're going to go, yeah, I know what Dragon Ball Z is. Do you think they're going to know it's going to be on par with like Sailor Moon or something like that?
I would say if we're looking at the non-anime enthusiasts, right? And you look at them, you're going to say, okay, they've all heard of Pokemon or a Pikachu. They've heard of it. They all heard of Dragon Ball Z or a Goku, or, you know, they'll go somewhere around that. So they know that. And they might hear maybe of a Sailor Moon, right? Because those I would say those three in a triangle spearheaded Western culture love for anime in general. Those three.
Okay, so you go on Family Feud right now.
Because Astro Boy happened a long time ago.
Astro Boy did not spearhead the Western culture to like it.
So Mac, so you go on
Just
Family
Feud. It doesn't mean that it's spearheaded.
Animes that happened.
Okay, before. Hang on. So Mac, so you go on Family Feud right now. It's the final round. They got top 3 answers on the board. The question is, greatest name recognition of those 3 anime you just named. Is Dragon Ball Z the number 1 answer?
Yes.
Okay. Jamal, do you think there's a different answer up there?
I think it's Pokemon.
You think it's Pokemon? Okay. So we've now figured out that we have a few metrics of which we can say Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z compete, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jamal, make your case for why Pokemon is better than Dragon Ball Z. Keep only 2 anime happenings. So that's movies, show, things of that nature. We'll leave the games and the other stuff out for another part of the discussion. Give me just anime reasons why. Storyline, character development, etc.
All right. So let me give you this. When we were kids, we all loved watching Ash lose, right? Every single time. Like, it broke my heart to watch him lose that first one. I just knew he had it. I knew Charizard was going to pull it out, and he pulled some whole shit. He let us down. However, in the end, what happened? We all kept coming back. We all kept tuning in, hearing that Ash lost. I got a laugh out of it. I stopped watching Pokemon for a long time. Personally, I got back into it as soon as, what's the name? As soon as I got out of basic training. However, the Pokemon movies never really held that same love that Dragon Ball Z movies held, right? Except for that first one. You remember that feeling of that first one? when you got to see past that first 151 Pokemon, when Donphan first popped out, and you were like, what is that elephant thing? And then you get on to see Ash die. You never forget that feeling of when you watch Ash die in the movies in 1999. It's crazy. And then you move on from there just to find that Ash finally did it. And when Ash finally did it, it not only lit up all of Japan, it lit up all of America. Ash finally winning and becoming a Pokemon master, Ash finally exiting, became major news. Now that Ash's journey is finally over after 25 years, people are looking like, dang, so what happens now to Pokemon? And that's major news. Goku died twice. Death means nothing in Dragon Ball Z. Goku has canonically died, came back, and Whis has wished back to Earth. So as things were like, oh, this is dire and this could never get any better, they have a Deus Ex Machina every time.
Deus Ex Machina, yep.
To save themselves. They have Dragon Balls, which they started on a quest of, and they just wind up punching everybody. They have Whis, who can actually wish back the world and turn back time about, 2 minutes? And then they have literal gods that fight for them. There's no way the Earth is doomed. What are the stakes in Dragon Ball? Because every time that something happens, they just come back stronger, and it's like, I'm a power up, my boy. Like, I'm back. And it's a one-upsmanship.
So the question then becomes, Mac. So he brought up some of the emotional toll it takes on you being a fan of Pokemon versus Dragon Ball Z. Would you say that Dragon Ball Z doesn't elicit a similar guttural emotional response?
I say it does, but not in a sad type of emotion, right? Ash
doesn't mean anything.
No, hold on. Because Pokemon lives in a world where there's flying fucking big ass dragons and lizards that burn shit to the ground. So I don't want to hear about death isn't a thing in a world where one giant whale and one giant land turtle can just wipe out the entire continent, and a giant air snake comes down and just says, "No, guys, stop fighting." I don't want to hear that. So your death means nothing argument is out the fucking window when it comes to a world of Pokemon where you have giant electrical rats that had electrocuted Ash 17 times, and Ash has never died. Ash has been 10 for the last 25 years. I don't want to hear your death isn't valid argument. But anyway, I would say Dragon Ball Z gives more of the rush and energy excitement feel, right? That same feeling, that same way people were watching when Ash died is the same way they were watching when Goku went Ultra Instinct. The way, and there's plenty of clips of around the world when people are watching the Tournament of Power and Goku masters Ultra Instinct, of how that entire cave just fucking roars because of how excited people are. Am I mad Ash is strong? No, but you can't say death means nothing in Dragon Ball Z, but then you exclude Ash being able to not die. That makes no sense. We're ignoring Michelle because it makes no sense. You're clearly just arguing against me. So when you're talking about a different excitement, when Goku showed Super Saiyan 3, motherfuckers lost their mind. They lost their actual mind when Goku showed Super Saiyan 3. Did it take 2.5 minutes to get there? Yeah. Have you ever tried to go Super Saiyan 3 before? Shit's take a while. And he's explained to you how he's only been able to do that twice before doing that, before going it when fighting Majin Buu. He's only been able to do it twice.
Okay.
So you're talking about a guy that's exceeded his limits over and over again.
I have a question for both of you then, right? So a good point was, so like Michelle, I haven't watched Super, so I haven't felt anything for the Ultra Instinct. However, I was there for the Spirit Bomb against Frieza. And I do remember also being one of those kids holding my hands up trying to put my energy to the Spirit Bomb.
And watching
now, Jamal, here's the other thing, right?
But we can't talk about failure. Ash just became the champion 25 years later.
Hang on. With Jamal,
boy
though,
went to
he's
school.
talking about that first movie with Mewtwo. Now, do you think that scene with Ash getting turned to stone and having all of the Pokemon cry to bring him back, do you think that was more impactful? Or Mac, do you think that the first Spirit Bomb was the more impactful event? Because both of these
I
situations
believe that
happened
they're not
around the
comparable.
same time for the same generation of kids. So
I believe that
let's
they're not impactful because I believe a feeling of sadness will always have more impact. So I believe that they're not comparable. And when you feel sad or when you're feeling empathy or sympathy for someone, it's going to always have more impact than feeling excited. So that's I don't feel like they're fair to compare in a
Fair.
sense. Because
once
obviously,
again-
if I'm feeling sad because one of my close friends died, and it has more of an impact than if he won the lottery. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm more like it's different. Like the
Would you
feeling.
compare Krillin dying to Ash dying?
No, because no one gave a shit when Krillin died.
I cared.
No,
like the
not a
only
soul.
one.
Because
Well,
when
but
Krillin
Ash,
died,
but
that was the
Ash
second
isn't a
time Krillin had
hang
died.
on. Ash isn't a comparable character to Krillin, though.
Yeah, Krillin isn't a main character.
Also, if I hear any Majin Buu slander in the chat, I promise you I will come down on you with the force of God. Majin Buu is my favorite character in all of DBZ. Don't you ever slander him. Carry on.
No,
he's like Luffy. Like all he does is play around and eat too much.
The impact event of when Gohan went Super Saiyan 2 is not comparable to when Ash died because you're comparing emotions of rage versus emotions of feeling when someone died. They really thought Ash was dead. They
what was
cried.
the most impactful?
Okay, so then Mac, if you don't
from
believe
all of Dragon Ball Z, then like what hit you the most? Like what's your big sell for Dragon Ball Z? Sell me on it.
So
Dragon Ball Z isn't an emotional thing.
So give me a comparable.
And neither is Pokemon.
Response.
Pokemon just had an emotional scene. It's not an emotional thing.
Not an
None of
emotional
these
scene.
animes are supposed to have emotional crying impact sales. Like they're not supposed to.
I would disagree with that, Mac. A lot of the earlier Pokemon movies had some pretty emotional scenes. Like go watch the episode with Go watch the movie with the three legendary birds and they're warring. That was a really sad episode. Or watch all the clone Pokemon fight. Michelle, trust and believe. I will.
Yeah, but they had no choice to be sad because they couldn't do shit about it. Ash can't stop three big ass birds burning shit down or fighting each other. What is Ash gonna do about it? The same thing he did against Mewtwo. Die.
Hey,
same thing.
What you gonna do against Mewtwo? All you gonna do is that too.
Ash wasn't the reason why Mewtwo stopped fighting. Mewtwo was the reason why Mewtwo stopped fighting. Ash didn't stop Mewtwo. Mewtwo was killing everything and decided himself that he was like, you know what? I'm fucking up right now. Let me stop. Goku, Frieza wasn't like, you know what? I'm fucking up right now. Let me stop. No, Goku beat that nigga.
Goku go?
Okay, hang on.
Let me not throw the sensu bean to the dude that's about to beat my son's ass. I'm fucking up right now.
Ash's dad didn't even care about him. His mama let him leave when he was 10.
Ash's dad was Mr.
I don't want to hear about dad.
Is Ash's dad not Mr. Mime? Is that not
exactly
what that was?
I don't want to hear about dad comparisons. Failure. Stop it.
Okay, hang on.
Like, nah,
so
leave it 10. I don't care.
So Jamal, Rich brings up a point. Ash's agency as a character is a little sus. Like he himself can't do a whole lot. What do you have? Like, what are we working with here? Why is Ash better than Goku?
We're not working with Ash versus Goku. We're just working against why Dragon Ball Z is not the greatest show ever. And all I'm saying is
then you're literally just going to compile everything.
So are you? So hang on. So are you
it's
saying?
Not even a fair argument.
Hang on. Hang on.
Yo, stop
for a minute. Stop for a minute. All right, hang on.
I told you, Pokemon
does. So we've just heard that Goku obviously fights through a lot of adversity, right? So what about his character is a big enough flaw for you to say that he doesn't stand above some of the other greats?
What was your question again?
What about his character says that he doesn't stand above the greats?
Yes. So what about Goku as a character says that he doesn't stand above the next best guy?
What the growth in which you've seen Goku go through from being 12 all the way to being 43, watching him grow in power, in height, and strength, and relationships, and the way that he handled situations, the way that he dealt all of that shows that they put a lot of depth into making his character. Ash has been 10 for 25 years. They didn't care about Ash's character.
But see, hang on, but that has nothing to do with
since Gen 1.
That's not growth. I'm talking character growth.
What?
Now, the question, hang on, the question was for Jamal. What do you think is a big enough issue with Goku as a character to say that he's not the best?
Did you not see what
How
Jay
is
Will
Goku
said?
not grown?
Goku
Everyone
has
keeps
not
saying
grown.
he hasn't grown. How is he not grown?
Okay, so let me break this down, because I've actually been reading Dragon Ball Super. Like, I don't know if you read it, but I'm in the Moro arc. Did you read the part where Piccolo broke down and actually said, because these are words taken from Akira Toriyama, the creator himself. He has said, Goku, you have not changed since the day I've met you. That is Piccolo Jr. Piccolo Jr. met him when he was 18. That means that Goku from the age of 18 to 43 has not changed.
In the
Goku
way that he approaches a fight.
No. But you said that Goku is married with kids. Let me break that down for you.
In the way that he approaches a fight, he has not changed.
Exactly.
No. They literally talk about Saiyan blood and how Saiyans look younger. The older they get, the younger they look until they get to a certain age. They literally wrote all of that in there.
Let him finish.
That's not in how he looks. That's in how he acts. Because Vegeta has shown a growth and a statement and a redemption arc. I'm not trying to spoil the manga for people who haven't read it.
Vegeta's different. Vegeta was given a different path.
Hang on, Jamal.
Y'all are judging Goku based off
of time. Hang on. This brings up a good point. So secondary character growth, right? So we'll talk about Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan as secondary characters. Do you think that they add enough to the series to make it head and shoulders above other secondary characters that exist in other shows? Hang on. First off, we'll let Mac, we'll let you go first. Do you think
you keep going?
Because we know, hang on. Well, you'll see.
This judge is biased.
No, yes. Do you think they're above? Do you think they're above?
Goku was given a very linear characteristic style, right? And as far as how pure and how stupid he is when it comes to him as a character, right? So what you put around him were people of different attributes and different personalities. But what you did was give them the bad side and then allowed them to become good people. So that's what you did. You allowed Vegeta started off bad. Piccolo started off bad. And then they become good people. So they're allowed to have that changing arc. Goku has always been good. So he didn't have to change to anything because he was always good.
So you think so that's a very baseline character arc that doesn't, you're not selling me on them being above other secondary characters. Jamal, you brought up One Piece earlier. I know that show is very heralded for its secondary characters. What do you think that Dragon Ball Z secondary characters stand up to a show like One Piece or like JoJo's even?
No. Like, you're telling me that Piccolo redeemed himself. When you met Piccolo, you met him trying to kill Goku. He pulls up on Raditz in Dragon Ball Z. If we are only arguing Dragon Ball Z, let's argue Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, when he meets Piccolo, Piccolo's still his enemy. They haven't cleared that up. There were no patches. There was no nothing happening. He kidnapped his kid. Gohan was 4 years old. He was given 6 months to train. At 4.5. At 4.5, I wanted nap time. I did not want to defend the earth against
You can't
aliens.
use yourself when it comes to an anime. Your argument is flawed in itself.
The argument is he's 4.5. His dad
in an anime
killed.
world where they train, not in a Jamal 4.5
world where he was kidnapped and had to fight against dinosaurs. He is 4.5. 4 years, 6 months is how old he was.
Yes,
he was
trained also half Saiyan
and then taught to do that from his day on.
So Jamal, so you're saying that Gohan as a child, his arc isn't better than the whole, or that one microcosm of his arc is enough to represent the entirety of his arc, because Gohan does change from that 4-year-old kid to the 18 or to the 14-year-old kid that kills Cell. So do you think that his
Who then
art
turns into a
from being that
scholar.
4-year-old kid to the 14-year-old kid is stronger or weaker than someone like, we'll say, Roronoa Zolo?
Zoro has had no character growth and change. He has shown what he wanted to do and what he wanted to be. He wants to be the strongest swordsman. You are on his journey to become the strongest swordsman. You aren't watching his character develop. His character is what his character is. This is not Goku getting character development. Goku is getting stronger and getting power-ups. Gohan is getting power-ups. Zoro does not change. Zoro is who he is as a person, and you respect that. He is an honorable person. He is an honorable samurai, and he's going to stand by his friends to the end. That's it.
So is Goku not honorable? Did he not stand by his friends?
But see, we're not
Did he not
comparing Goku.
We're not comparing
it's the
Goku.
secondary characters.
Is Piccolo not honorable?
Michelle,
Was
the reason
Vegeta not
why I'm
honorable?
saying One Piece, the reason I'm saying One Piece, it's not specifically One Piece, but I'm giving that as an example.
Was
He
Trunks
could have
not
drawn on
honorable?
any show. I'm just saying because I also said JoJo's. But no, but what I'm saying with you guys though is it's secondary characters. It's not about Goku. Now it's about for Mac, it's for your Vegetas, your Piccolos, your Gohans. Jamal, this is for your secondary characters. Think your I don't want to say Hisoka. What's the other kid from Hunter x Hunter, the white-haired kid?
Killua?
Killua, or yeah, Killua, or
there was no characteristic growth for Killua in Hunter x Hunter.
You don't think so?
If we're talking, no. Killua has been the same. It's been the same across the board.
Interesting. We'll shelve
Killua
that
has been the same across the board.
We'll shelve that for later. But that's what I'm saying. Is do you think your characters like? Yeah, I agree, Jay. Will do you think that the secondary characters in Dragon Ball Z hold up to like their secondary characters in like Yu Yu Hakusho, for example, Inuyasha? Some of these older anime that were out around the same time.
Listen, you can't compare Goku to, the secondary characters in Dragon Ball Z to anything else because the secondary characters, you watch Krillin grow with Goku physically in size up until the point where they got to that last point in that last, what was that, the last tournament before Dragon Ball ended. It was the last martial arts tournament. Goku came back. He's an adult now. He's in his adult body. This is how he's going to look from here on out. He just packed on muscles between the series. Cool. Krillin stayed the same. We all laughed. It was the big running joke. However, when the show ended, that's where Goku's character development ended. You get to see Vegeta go from I'm going to try to kill everybody to I'm not going to kill everybody because I have a wife and kid. And then it's the Majin Buu saga comes. I'm not stronger than Goku. I want to test myself. So now I'm going to do something stupid. And I'm going to allow I'm going to allow him to brainwash me because that's a choice. That was absolutely a choice. Vegeta was too strong for them to be like, oh, you got me. And he went with it.
Goku has always been the best character. So it's you can't say like it's hard. Everyone else has to catch up to him.
But gentlemen, the argument is DBZ the GOAT. So you have to take these things into consideration.
No,
you can't just say you're looking at it as a whole. We're not just looking at it as Goku better than everyone else. Does Dragon Ball Z hold up against the rest?
Yes, I believe because of the cultural impact that Dragon Ball Z, I believe minus Dragon Ball Z, Western culture does not watch anime like that. They don't.
I disagree. I think
no one was watching sub. No one in 1993. No one was watching subbed anime. You weren't watching subbed anime. You didn't watch anime until it became dubbed, which would have been a year or two later, until Dragon Ball Z came out, and when it hit the United States in 1996. Now, mind you, by the time it hit the United States in 1996, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z had already been concluded, and they were just giving us the dubbed version of those. But when that hit America, that's when it spread like wildfire.
Okay, so
I'm not saying that there weren't other animes made before Dragon Ball Z. They did not have the cultural impact on American culture or Western culture until Dragon Ball Z. And that's written everywhere. So you can Google anime history, and they'll tell you the cultural impact that Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and Pokemon had. that they had on the Western culture. They did not have a bigger impact on Western culture. I'm not saying that they weren't there. They were there.
Black.
But you know, when people went back to
say
rewatch
Western, you have to
Cowboy
say
Bebop
black.
after Dragon Ball Z had already created a cultural
You
impact.
have to say
That's when
black.
people went back to watch Cowboy Bebop. Astro Boy was there. It did not have the impact of Dragon Ball Z on Western culture.
In the black community, because you are talking as a whole community, as if nobody watched stuff like Fist of the North Star. No one watched JoJo.
But Jamal,
because
10
JoJo's
people watching Astro Boy doesn't mean that the anime. You guys are trying to relegate yourself to where the anime culture watched it. Dragon Ball Z impacted more than just the anime culture. It impacted the entire Western hemisphere. What are you talking about? It brought people that could care less about anime into watching anime, not just the nerds that were nerds from the very beginning. People that could care less about anime will watch Dragon Ball Z.
Just exactly, Josh. Just because you created the boom doesn't mean that you best the explosion. It is not. It is not the best. Demon Slayer outclasses it in animation and fight style. You can't tell me you watch one fight in anime and Demon Slayer and was
you can't say Demon Slayer outclassed in animation when Demon Slayer came out 20 years after the animation for Dragon Ball Z is already
Dragon
done.
Ball Super came out already. When Dragon Ball Super
was done before Demon Slayer came out.
Even when Dragon Ball Super was dropping, it wasn't the best anime of that year. Their best fights weren't classics. They weren't clear. There were people still watching other fights. There were people still watching other animes. There were other animes still besting it. Attack on Titan was still giving it your best.
What are you talking about? You can't be like there were people watching other anime.
Hold on one second.
You're comparing it, right?
Hang on. Jamal, stop for a second. I gotta do an explanation. So it's not necessarily the best anime, Michelle. We're not arguing the best anime. It is the greatest of all time. So it does include cultural impact because the greatest of all time is going to have that cultural impact. So he's okay to argue that point. That's more what we're going for. Maybe not. So no, carry on now. Sorry about the interruption. I just want to get the explanation out so we understand what exactly we're arguing about. Jamal,
I feel like you guys are only arguing it to what the nerds think. And when we're talking about anime, it's bigger than just what you nerds think. It's bigger than that. Your Astro Boy only impacted nerds. Your Cowboy Bebop only impacted nerds. Dragon Ball Z impacted more than just nerds. Therefore, giving it a greater impact.
Did it though?
So Jamal, what is your argument against that? What anime do you think had a bigger impact on?
I know that, Cam, but I'm speaking. I'm a hood nigga too, so I'm speaking on the outside of the hood nigga.
So what anime do you think had a bigger impact societally on the rest of the world outside of Japan and outside of the nerd culture than Dragon Ball Z?
I'll give you this one. How many people do you know were going to Kamehameha their way to Area 51? They were going to do what? Naruto run, right? Naruto.
And I would argue all those people that wanted to storm Area 51 are nerds.
I signed up for that.
If you're Naruto running, yes, you're a nerd. If you're Naruto running, you're automatically a nerd. Because how many times you saw some kid in middle school Naruto running, and you're like, man, that kid is on talking shit, right? How many times you saw that?
We can speak black culture and how outside of the nerds of black culture where Dragon Ball Z impacted.
And we can speak on the impact of a lot of animes in black culture. We can speak on Akira being in the video for what's his name? Kanye West. It's your boy, right? We can speak on a lot of stuff. We can speak on the culture of Michael B. Jordan creating a line of Naruto wear. Where's the Dragon Ball Z wear? They only came out with that one outfit after the movie, right? But all this time since the 90s, they could have been putting out a collection of things that didn't just now start taking effect when all the other anime effects came out. Dragon Ball Z has always been a popular shirt, but it's always been a popular shirt that you had to get from somebody else making the trademark, not copywriting one. Naruto broke in before Dragon Ball Z did. Attack on Titan broke into the stores before Dragon Ball Z did. One Piece is in the stores before Dragon Ball Z was.
I'm just going to tell you how false that is. Go ahead. I'm just going to tell you how false that entire argument line of yours is. 1,000% how false it is.
So why is
You're
it false?
only talking about recent shit where Zion wore a Naruto shirt and then Jordan decided to drop a Naruto shoe.
Gentlemen, I enjoy the fashion talk. We've gotten a wee bit off topic. Let's bring it back to.
But he talked about culture. Culture.
I am talking about culture, but now we're
culture
going down like a small route. Let's bring it back. So we'll talk about. So we've got everything from outfits to, how people are getting their cars done. Everything, right? So do you think?
Yeah, they're cars. No one's out here with a Naruto car.
Plenty of people out here with a Naruto car.
You're lying your ass off. No, it's not.
You're lying your ass off. Stop it.
It's not.
I've seen
Dragon Ball Z cars.
You've never seen nobody with a Nakatsuki car? You've never seen anybody with a Tachi on their car? Stop it.
So again,
no.
What?
But I can show you how many people have Dragon Ball Z wrapped in their car.
Brittany, we're going
to
the
a car
show. I'm gonna get a gavel. I need the mute button.
Car.
That's what I need. I need the mute button for y'all niggas.
Oh, you need access to the actual thing then.
Yeah, I need the controls.
Don't worry, I helped you out.
All right. But yeah, so here's what the. No, not me, Nick. You motherfucker. Goddamn.
Jay, I know you're lying because I have a Dragon Ball Z whip, so I know you've seen one. Stop it.
This nigga don't know you.
He's lying.
Damn. He said he ain't never seen it. So we talk about a lot of the impact that it's had on the Western world. So what anime, Jamal, do you see, or I don't know if you've done any type of research in this, but have you seen a lot of people from other countries repping a lot of the same anime that you would consider to be the GOATs? So when you see like international, are y'all both muted?
I muted Rich.
All right.
So yes, in terms of like international anime, you see One Piece statues. You see One Piece statues of people that fictionally died to have real life statues. That is a crossover effect that you don't get other places. You see real life in Japan, there are actual One Piece boats and amusement parks set to where you can actually go on the boats and you can actually live and do the things that they do. There are actual amusement park stores. There are things. There are movies. There are things coming out. You know, the only Dragon Ball live action movie came out and they decided to cast a white girl from Shameless as Bulma. What you got to say, Rich?
I would argue that all live action movies are absolute dog shit and we should not use them.
Except they all aren't, though.
Name one live action movie that's good.
Sonic.
This nigga said Sonic, bro. Get him out of here.
This man just made a furry reference.
Is it not? But is it not
Sonic,
good?
Bro.
Okay. All right. So
Sonic's not even an anime.
All right. You ain't got to hurt Sonic's feelings.
Technically, it was.
Sonic came from Japan?
But it came out after the game. Like way after. No, there have been two Sonic animes, actually, now that I think about it.
Did Sonic come from Japan? I thought Sonic was American.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah, Sega.
This nigga's Sonic, bro. I'm not. Your argument's invalid. The rest of your whole goddamn debate.
All right. So we're gonna move on to closing arguments, right? We're gonna move on to closing arguments. Jamal, give me your closing argument.
In closing, Dragon Ball Z does not hold up to the test of time on animation. It does not hold up to the test of time because of racism. It does not hold up to the test of time because of sexism. Dragon Ball Z has shown time and time again. It can be sexist. It can be racist. The author can be forgetful. And the author can just leave shit out just because he feels like it. Whole arcs, whole things, whole characters have been erased because the author just said, we're going to leave it. Goku's the best character. We're just going to focus on him. Vegeta gets more character growth because the fans want to see it, not because the author himself wants to actually see what's best for the story. The author himself wants to put one character above. one character being above does not make for a great show, because now you are reliant on that one character to hold the show. And One Piece and in other stories like that, it is a world, because when you have 800 episodes, when you have this much story, when you have this many people invested, you build the world and you want to show them the world. And My Hero Academia, you care about all the students and all their powers and how they use them separately and differently.
Okay.
They were
And
all
Dragon
trash.
Ball,
All right.
and Dragon Ball and in Dragon Ball Z, you only care about Goku and Vegeta and what new power up they're going to get next. You know that the anime and whatever isn't over because they're coming back stronger, better. But then the other villain comes back again and they're just rinse and repeat. And when they can't find a strong enough villain, what do? They just take Goku and make him black. Yeah, that's how you do it. Thanks, Japan. In closing, Dragon Ball Z sucks.
In closing, thanks.
There are certain plot holes. There's certain racism. There's just certain things that just meh. And I don't know if I'd show my kids in meh anime, because I'd have to make them sit through where Pig wished for panties, because they'd have to understand who Goku is. I'd have to show them where the girl showed her, not her panties, because that's what Master Roshi wanted, but she flashed coochie. And she was like, what? Bulma was 14 when she was flashing her coochie to an immortal old man? And death means nothing in the show. I can't take a show serious when all you can do is die, come back, and it means nothing. Kid Buu was
Then
throwing
you
hands
shouldn't watch anime. Then you shouldn't watch anime.
All right.
Death means something in certain animes. When I see it, I see it. Ace
right.
died and he died.
Mac,
The only anime that death means
Mac,
something
your
is
closing
Attack on
argument, please. Your closing argument,
That's what I
please.
said.
Akira gave the fans what they asked for. The reason why he focuses on Goku and Vegeta is because those are the two people that the fans asked to see. That's who they asked for. You know why Frieza comes back? Because the fans asked to see that. He gives them what they asked for. I can't have my closing arguments if you're gonna keep showing damn comments. No one show comments doing your closing argument.
Shoot, this man is.
They weren't there.
That whole scene is so wild.
Wait, no, shoot. This man isn't black.
That shit's funny as fuck.
It created a revolution that opened the door for all of these other animes to come in and be great. The only reason why people care about a My Hero or a Big Three is because of Dragon Ball Z. That's the only reason why people even give a shit about a Big Three. Because without a Dragon Ball Z cultural impact, these other animes don't mean shit. They have no way of coming in. Why do we celebrate MLK? Because he paved the way for black people to do some shit. Dragon Ball Z is MLK, motherfucker. That's what he paved the way for these other motherfuckers to come in and do shit. Now, will there be one as you talk about standing the test of time, as they call? There may be. There may be an anime that comes out that might be like, you know what, I'm better. Like when LeBron came in and beat Jordan. But
I want y'all to know that our group chat that like just the three of us can see just consists of me continuously saying wrap it up. Don't worry. I keep trying to tell these motherfuckers to move on.
Nah, don't mute Rich. Y'all didn't mute Jamal when this nigga went on for 4 minutes.
That's just sweet.
That's just me saying wrap it up. Wrap it up. Don't worry. I'm trying.
Jamal wasn't interrupted during his closing arguments. I shouldn't be interrupted either.
No, people just weren't talking when he was talking. I think that's just what it was.
That's unfair. I feel like the ruling in this court is unfair. It is biased because y'all let Jamal speak.
Controls over just the two of them.
See, look, I didn't pull up no chats or nothing while Jamal was talking.
No, all right. But here's all what's gonna happen now, right? So we've heard both the arguments. We kind of understand that the chat is a bit biased, but please vote for what you think. Do you think Dragon Ball Z is the GOAT of all anime, or do we think that it doesn't stand up to the test of time or a rewatch? Please let me know what you think in the comments while you guys are doing that. I'd just like to say that both of y'all are some wild ass motherfuckers.
Jamal didn't. Nice.
What you both got to wrap it up. No, he got to wrap it up like 3 times. Don't play like that.
Well, that's one vote for it, isn't it?
Now let's
got-
watch. Let's pose the question like this: What do you guys think the GOAT anime is? And watch these dumbass answers come out.
Yeah, you
Like,
know what? I want to see. Put it in the
Watch
chat. What do you
these
think the
dumbass
GOAT of
answers
all
come out,
anime
right?
is? I want to hear from the chat what y'all think that.
Well,
what
I
y'all
think
the GOAT
Cowboy
of anime
Bebop's
is.
the GOAT.
It's Full Metal Alchemist.
Yay.
Throughout
Well, I
the-
think Full Metal Alchemist is the GOAT. Fucking boomers. That's all you fucking are.
it's a complete anime. It went from the manga.
No,
It gave you the story, and you felt that like
you don't want to explain why this guy wanted to see this girl's
That
panties, but you
dumbass
can explain why a guy wanted to kill his daughter and merge it with his dog.
Michelle,
You can
by
explain
your
that shit.
own merits and standards, whatever you decide it is, whatever you think the GOAT of all anime is. So whatever you think the best one is. And I swear to God, if anyone says Hitalia, you're banned to an island. Konosuba.
No,
My
Jamal,
boy.
no, Michelle,
My
you don't get a
boy.
Rubik. You don't get a Rubik because
What?
y'all didn't give us one.
This man said Konosuba.
We just kind of won it.
Come
I
on,
respect
Cam, where
the
you
pick.
at?
I respect
I know
the
you out there watching.
We didn't have a
Exile.
Rubik, so you figure it out.
Yeah, it's whatever you want the rubric to be. If you think it's like the anime that sucks the best, but you love it, then there you go.
No one even knows what this is. Stop it.
I know what that is. Don't sleep on Konosuba. That's just funny as fuck.
I mean, the
But
man spoke his piece.
Konosuba will have you roll. If you're an anime fan, Konosuba will have you rolling.
See,
No, and now you're bringing it out in terms of shonen, in terms of this. No, nigga, anime as a whole.
right? But there are shonen animes and there are other animes. There are animes
Right.
that don't.
But did we
appear in
sit down? Did
shonen
we
manga.
break down on what part of no? We said anime. You said anime as a whole. You didn't break down
Right,
specific
man?
parts.
All right, you know what? Hang on. You know what? Maybe
said
we'll do
mine.
that. Maybe we'll do that for a future episode. What defines a shonen anime?
It appearing in Shonen Jump.
I would say what defines the GOAT.
Hang
What are the rules for
hang
the GOAT?
on. We'll talk about that later in a future episode. But all right, so I've seen a lot of people say Dragon Ball Z is not the GOAT. I've seen a lot of people
The range in what? And watching anime?
I've seen
Shit.
not the GOATest of all anime.
I'll take y'all into
I've seen
animes
some
that
people
y'all be
scream
like, bro,
from
you shouldn't
Full
watch
Metal.
that.
I've heard One Piece. I've heard several other anime. I've heard a lot of good arguments. I've heard a lot more bad arguments today. So I'm just going to kind of render my verdict as such. In the case of whether Dragon Ball Z is the GOAT of all anime, the court here finds it's the GOAT of all anime. Dragon Ball Z has withstood the test of time. It stands above all else. I'm sorry, I may be a little bit biased,
A lot of it.
but I tried my best.
Even the chat said it
High
was.
School of the Dead.
That's fine. At Williams said it best. A hater's job is to hate.
Sister Devil New
So
Testament.
let them hate.
Like High School DxD. We can go on all goddamn day naming more than 5 nuns shown in fucking anime.
So we're gonna get an appeal.
Oh, there's a riot in the chat. Let me hear it. New Jeff. That's all right. Let me know what you guys want to hear. This court is out of order. Let me know what you guys want to hear us argue about next. We'll swap it around. We'll let someone else be the judge if you don't like the way I did it.
I damn sure don't like the way you did it.
That's
so
fine.
Next time.
That's fine. That's all right. Let us know. Please feel free to reach out to us and message us. I think that's our time for today. I've been your host, Tyrell. This has been Rich and Jamal.
Yo,
And
we appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
We are the Anime Court, and we will see y'all next time.
Stay black.